All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the virtual college exploration for all New Jersey students, sponsored by the New Jersey Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on the top of your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at NJACAC.org. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within a week at that same website, NJACAC.org. I'd now like to turn it over to your presenters. And if you would like to ask questions again, just please just as a reminder, use the Q&A button to type your questions. And now I will turn it over.
Thank you so much, and thank you, StriveScan, for having us. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today, Exploring the Diversity of Pennsylvania's State Schools. My name is Sierra Bell from Slippery Rock University, and I'm joined by two co-presenters, Joshua B. Leaf from Millersville University and Andrew Wislock from Bloomsburg University, who I'm going to let briefly say hello right now.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining.
Perfect. So today we're actually going to highlight the top 10 things to know about the Pennsylvania state system, discussing what makes our system really stand out, and then we're going to discuss what makes each of our schools unique. As a reminder, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer those in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Joshua. Please take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sierra. Welcome again to everybody who is hopping on our session this afternoon. We're really excited that you're here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by talking about the top 10 things to know if you're thinking about going to a state school, but in Pennsylvania. So, and if you go to the next slide, please. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so here is a map of all of the 14 state schools in Pennsylvania. And a couple of things that we want you all to know. First, state schools in Pennsylvania are not Penn State, are not Temple, and are not Pitt. Those are what we call state-affiliated universities, and a lot of times when students are looking at going to college in Pennsylvania, they see those schools and they think, oh, Penn State, that's a state university. But actually, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania doesn't own Penn State. They own our 14 state schools, all of which you see on the map here. Another thing about the 14 state schools in Pennsylvania is that we all share a common past. We all started out as teacher training centers from the 1850s to the late 1800s, and we've evolved over the years into the 14 state schools that we are today. A really cool thing about each of our state schools in Pennsylvania, we all have our own unique majors. So for example, at Millersville, we're the only state school in Pennsylvania to offer programs like botany, meteorology, and we even have a really cool program for artificial intelligence. So each of the 14 state schools has something that they do a little bit different and special in terms of their programs. Another important thing to know is that if you're from Pennsylvania or you have any connection to Pennsylvania, if you have family here or you're a resident, our tuition is really, really low. So for an entire year for tuition at the state schools in Pennsylvania for Pennsylvania residents, the cost is only about $10,000 for an entire year, just for the tuition. Things like fees, housing, meal plans, those are all extra, but our tuition is really, really low. If you're not from Pennsylvania, we're still going to be pretty affordable compared to private schools in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $20,000 cheaper, typically right off the bat. And another cool thing about the 14 state schools in Pennsylvania, if you add us all up together, our enrollment as a system comes to over 100,000 students, which is something that's pretty cool. So we definitely serve a lot of students in the Commonwealth, and we see a lot of students coming into Pennsylvania to attend our schools as well. Next slide, please. Perfect. Thanks, Andy. Okay, so another cool thing about going to a state school in Pennsylvania. Our state school system is very diverse. So you could find state schools in the mountains of Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, or in the Amish fields of Lancaster, which is where I am, all the way out to Western PA, where it's really mountainy. There's a lot of things to do outdoors. So We even have state schools in the city, like places like Westchester. So whether you're looking for that school that's going to be big, small, somewhere in between, chances are pretty good that you'll be able to find fit just right for you in one of the state schools. Another thing that we share in common is that each of the state schools in Pennsylvania, we share a common mission to provide excellence, relevance, and a high quality of education, not just for the students in Pennsylvania, but for people in the Mid-Atlantic and nationally as well. Each of the 14 state schools in our system have a president, and each of those presidents report to the chancellor. The chancellor in the state system is actually, he's from the Gates Foundation, which is pretty cool. He's new, he's been with us for about 2 years. His name is Chancellor Greenstein, and he's been doing a lot of really cool things with us, but the chancellor reports directly to the governor. As a state system, we're responding collectively to the changes in our landscape, and that has to do with changes from COVID, changes from declining population. So we're really coming together as a state system and collaborating in new ways right now. And most importantly, while we do share a lot of things in common with one another, we each have our own different processes. And what we'll do now is we'll start to talk about some of the ways that each of our campuses are unique. So to get started, I am from Millersville University. We're actually the first state school in all of Pennsylvania. So we're almost 200 years old, and we're a medium-sized state school. So we're not too big, we're not too small. We have about 8,000 students total, graduate and undergraduate, at our university. Pictured here, oh, sorry, back one real quick, thanks. Back one slide, Andy. Perfect, thanks. Pictured here is our president. His name is Dr. Wuba. And believe it or not, he's actually a king from Ghana, which is pretty cool. So we do receive Ghanaian delegations on our campus. He has taken students with him to Africa as well, but his wife makes a wicked peanut soup if anyone's into African cuisine. And another cool thing about him, he's a botanist by trade. He was actually at the United Nations over the summer working with Anthony Fauci on how to safely reopen college campuses during the pandemic. So we're very fortunate to have him. Now, next slide, please. Thank you. Here's a quick visual about our location in Pennsylvania. So we're about 3 hours from New York City, but we're just as far from Philly as we are from Baltimore. So if you are thinking about taking a trip over to Pennsylvania for college, we're going to be a great place to consider. We are accessible by Amtrak, which is really nice. We do have an Amtrak station in Lancaster. Also, get to us by bus as well, so that's really good. Most of our students do come from the Commonwealth, but we see quite a few students from New Jersey, which is really great. And our average class size is about what you have in school now. It's about 26 students per class. Next slide, please. Thank you. We're going to play a quick video for you.
What's my favorite thing about going to Millersville University? Is it the beautiful campus? Their strong commitment to sustainability and the environment? It might be the fact that my professors are invested in my future and truly passionate about my success. Even with more than 100 unique majors and minors to choose from, classes are the perfect size for a real connection with students. The average student-teacher ratio is 21:1, which means students are supported and mentored here. The annual Made in Millersville program allows students to showcase their research and work side by side with professors on a range of projects, from music, art, education, and literature, to cutting-edge research in science, meteorology, applied engineering, and beyond. Maybe it's the fact that Millersville is such a great value with a phenomenal placement record. They have established an exceptional internship program that provides students with real-life experiences and networking opportunities. I think it's the hands-on learning that fully prepares us for our future careers. Within 6 months of completing a degree, 95% of Millersville graduates are employed. Many study abroad options provide a cultural and academic experience that helps us develop a global perspective. We can study theater in England for the summer, or take a guided service trip to Costa Rica over winter break. It may even be the Marauder spirit, which resonates through the 19 Division II varsity sports programs here. Discipline, self-confidence, accountability, and teamwork. These are all things our student athletes are known for. It could be Millersville's location. I've always felt safe on campus, and I appreciate that it's something the school takes very seriously. I love the fact that I can just hop on a train and go almost anywhere. And with just a short drive, you can be in downtown Lancaster. It has an inspiring mix of history and diversity, a vibrant art scene that includes the university's Ware Center for Performing Arts, great restaurants, and fantastic places to explore. But I think my favorite thing about Millersville is that I'm always surrounded by people who inspire me, challenge me, and are committed to my success. It's why we are Together Strong.
Awesome. And while we have this slide up, I'd just like to point out that Millersville is a huge value in terms of cost. As you can see on the screen there, our sticker price is about $36,000 a year. That's for everything: tuition, fees, room, board. Right now, if you're from New Jersey and you apply to Millersville and we're able to admit you, we're going to take $6,000 a year, every year, for 4 years off of your bill. So instead of being about $36,000 a year, it's going to be closer to 30, which is more in the ballpark of what you'd pay if you were going to a school like Rutgers. We do offer merit scholarship at Millersville, but most of our students do receive some type of financial aid as well. Thank you. Next slide, please. So if you're like me and you like to sleep, you will love our brand new suite style residence halls. They have air conditioning, Wi-Fi, cable, of course, and parking for freshmen. So if you have a car, by the time you graduate high school, you're allowed to bring it with you freshman year of college at Millersville. We do offer over 100 different programs at Millersville, and some of our hard-to-find programs are things like entertainment technology. We have meteorology, marine biology, music industry, all of the things listed there, but we've got a lot to pick from as well. Next slide, please. So if you are thinking that you want to go to college near Hershey Park, that's not too far from us, definitely get your application into Millersville University. If you're thinking about applying, right now we only need 2 things from you to complete your file: your Millersville application or your Common App, and then your transcripts from school. And once we have those 2 things from you, we'll have a response back to you in about 2 weeks, which is really cool. If you're thinking of transferring, all you need to do is demonstrate at least 12 transferable credits with a 2.0 GPA, and we'll be able to admit you. So that's everything that we have for Millersville. I'll now pass it back to my colleague Sierra to talk about Slippery Rock.
Thank you, Joshua. Hello again, everyone. So again, my name is Sierra, and I'm with Slippery Rock University. I've been at the university about 4.5 years, and I previously worked in the international department, so things like study abroad, faculty-led programs, and international admissions. And I've been in this recent position about 2 months. And so I'm your admissions counselor. So if you have any questions, then I'm the person that you can contact. My mom actually started working at the university before I was even born and while she was pregnant with me. So it's really close to my heart. And then she just recently retired from there as well. I have a lot of cousins who have been there. And my sister actually did her master's program in student affairs and higher education. So I'm really excited to present the university to you. And Andy, if you would, next slide, please. So Slippery Rock, thank you. Slippery Rock is 1 hour north of Pittsburgh. So we're sort of in between Erie and Pittsburgh, if you're familiar with those areas. So 1 hour north. And then if you're interested in somewhere like Cleveland, Ohio, that's about 2 hours from us, 3 hours to Niagara Falls, Canada, about 4.5 to DC, and 6 to New York, or an hour flight. And we're considered a medium-sized institution. So about 8,800 students. But in class, there's only about 25 students on average. So a lot of friend opportunities, but your class size is going to be smaller. 92% of our faculty members have their PhD or their terminal degree, so they're very skilled in what they do. They have a lot of real-world experience to pull into your classroom as well. And in terms of the community, we have a lot of support. You'll see that with internships, with jobs. You'll see that during Village Fest, which we do, where we shut down the street of Main Street, and we have a lot of like carnival type activities and foods. And it's a perfect opportunity for the community to collaborate with the university. You'll see that again during homecoming when we get to paint the windows of town buildings in Slippery Rock. And so the town is called Slippery Rock. And if you're familiar with McConnell's Mills, there's a lot of creeks and rivers in that area, and that's why we get that name. In terms of things to do on campus, we have about 160 different activities and clubs, organizations. So we have Division II sports. If you're interested in playing sports, we have 10 for women and 7 for men. And if you're interested in sports scholarships, that would actually go through the coach, not through admissions. So if you go on to rockathletics.com, you'll be able to find our student athlete prospect form, which you can fill out and get in touch with a coach or with the GA there. We also have club sports and intramural sports. So if you're more so interested in something like ultimate frisbee, or if you have sort of my athletic ability, you're probably looking more at the intramural sport level. We have hundreds of those in all of the facilities on campus. We're about 660 acres. So we have everything from horses on campus to a planetarium to rock climbing wall to Starbucks if you're really interested in that pumpkin cold brew. So we have everything there for you that you would need: health center, counseling center, tutoring center, career center. And we've actually just been ranked as #1 public university for career education in terms of job-seeking applicants for 2020. So we're really excited for the work that John Rindy has done in that department as well. And actually, Andy, if you'll play that short video for me, please.
Do you remember when you were told to sit still? Walk, don't run. Don't sit too close to the screen. Don't touch that. Color inside the lines. At Slippery Rock, we inspire the motion, the music, and the moments of challenge that allow you to be your best, now and in the future. Slippery Rock University. Experience the difference.
Perfect. And the next slide, please. Yes, so these are some of our programs. You got a little taste of that in the last video. Anything from art to theater, we have almost A to Z. But we have 150 different programs. So I would encourage you to go onto our website and see which programs we actually do offer. You'll be able to find all of that information. And at the end, I'm going to show you as well where you can contact faculty members during our open house. And you can virtually right now, since we're in this current pandemic, we're having a virtual open house 3 more times this fall. And you'll be able to learn about those programs and speak with faculty members directly. And so that could be something if you're interested in a variety of majors, or if you want to learn what makes Slippery Rock's major a little bit different, I would encourage you to sign up for one of those events. But again, 150 different undergrad programs, so we have something for everyone. Something else that we've done, we've partnered some of our undergraduate programs with our graduate programs to create sort of an accelerated track. So for example, if you were interested in exercise science, you could study that for the 4 years as a traditional student, or you could do something like our pre-professional track, where we have exercise science for 3 years, and then you enter into your doctorate of physical therapy program for 3 more years. And so in 6 years, you have your doctoral degree already completed. And so that really allows you to reduce your undergraduate debt and get into the work field and workforce a little bit faster. So that's something that we found for our students to be successful and on a sort of a faster track if that's something that you're interested in. We have more programs than what's listed there, but I would encourage you again to look on the website so that you can see really what it is that we offer and how to cater that towards your needs. But that's one of the unique offerings for Slippery Rock. Someone who did the doctorate of physical therapy program at Slippery Rock is Amber Donaldson. So she's actually the senior director for the US Olympics. And so she'll be on the sidelines. And if someone gets injured, such as Venus Williams, for example, she's helping to nurse that athlete back to health. So this is something that you can do with that physical therapy degree, and she studied at Slippery Rock as an example. Then you see some of our unique majors and offerings. Cybersecurity, engineering, we have civil, mechanical, petroleum and natural gas, and industrial and systems. Homeland security, and then our musical theater performance is under the theater department. We also have music education, music therapy, and music performance on their own. And one of our former music professors actually had won a Grammy as a part of the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra. So you're really learning from some of the best in the industry. Our top college is going to be the College of Health, Engineering, and Science, followed by Business, Education, and then Liberal Arts, because our Health, Engineering, and Science is the largest. And if you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And so this is the cost of attendance. So this is one academic year, which is 2 semesters. The first column you're going to see are PA residents. And so our tuition has actually remained flat for the past 2 years. So we're looking at 2018 tuition rates. And so 7716 is what tuition would be. And then we add on those fees. What we do for out-of-state students, you would go to the third column. So where that 18 is listed, 18,472. So if you have a lower than a 3.0 GPA, you would actually be in that column, okay? And that's about 200% of the rate of what a PA resident would pay. Now, if you have really good grades and you have over a 3.0 GPA, when you are finishing school, so not just what you're admitted with, but on your final transcript, so don't slack off if you're a senior, then we have an out-of-state tuition reduction that we are able to give you, and that brings you back a little bit closer to what a PA resident is paying, and you would be at the 150% rate for tuition. Now, mind you, the room and board are going to be the same, so board means your meal plan as well. So your room and board for PA or out-of-state student is going to be the same. We have residential suites, which are listed. We have a double studio. That's our most common, but we have tons of other options for you. So if that's just the most common that students typically go to, because we have more of them. So that's bed, and your bathroom. So it's more of an apartment style living. There's a snack prep area. There's a kitchen in some. There's a shared living room in some as well. Some have balconies. It just depends on what you're looking for. And then traditional halls are about $3,000 less because the bathroom is on the outside of your dorm, and it's shared with your hall members, okay? So if you're looking at the out-of-state and you have a 3.0 GPA or higher, then basically where you're going to fall is going to be, if you're looking at the traditional halls, you're about $700 off of what a PA resident would be paying if they're doing the residential suites. So just a little bit difference of a room type, and you're able to come pretty close to what a PA resident is paying. And then when we're looking at the board, as I mentioned, that's meal plans. So you have 12 meals per week, which is like a swipe. So you can go in and all you can eat or all you care to eat at some of our dining facilities. And then we have $445 of flex. So if you're interested in, again, something like Starbucks and going to grab a coffee and it costs $4, then that's going to be subtracted just like a prepaid Visa card. But don't worry, if you're stress eating or during midterms, for example, you can always add money back to that if you run out. And the flex carries over week to week and semester to the next semester as well, from fall to spring, whereas the meal plans are just for that week and then they go away. All right. If I can see the next slide, please. So this is just a breakdown of, if you're interested in applying or if you have any questions, this is what you would do. So you would apply online using the online application. There's a $30 fee, and then we need the transcripts from your guidance counselor or counselor secretary directly, not from you or from mom or dad, but officially from the school, okay? We are test optional as of this year. So if you didn't score well on the SAT or if you weren't able to take them due to the pandemic, we are actually test optional, so you don't have to worry about that. And that does not affect your scholarships in terms of our academic scholarships that we're offering this year. So we have merit out of state and achievement scholarships. If you apply by December 1st with all of those documents and you're admitted, then you'll be automatically considered without having to do anything extra for those 3 types of scholarships. Our out-of-state scholarships actually have just gone up because we had more out-of-state students this year. So it's a really great year to be applying as an out-of-state student because you have more options than ever before. And in terms of extra scholarship money, so October 1st, is FAFSA, so that's going to be coming out. Slippery Rock's code is 003327 if you're interested in listing us to receive a financial aid package. That same day, that's an important day, that's also when our first year scholarship application goes live. So it takes 5 minutes if you're interested in extra scholarships. Our donor and alumni scholarships are going to be done through that application. So you submit one application and it submits you to all of these different donor scholarships and sees if you're eligible, okay? So that's due February the 28th. If you're interested in coming to campus and seeing it in person, we do have visit options. We're doing Monday through Friday visits, weekdays 9 a.m., and then we also have Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 p.m. We have some Saturday visits as well, so you can bring mom, dad, sister, or brother if you're interested in doing that. And then we have some virtual options that are going to be listed for you, okay? Scholarships, again, that's where you're going to find that information on there about the first year scholarship application. And going back to that visit option, that's where you'll find the open house information if you would like to sign up to speak to our faculty members and learn more about your major. Again, my name is Sierra Bell, and I appreciate your attention. I'm going to hand it over now to Andy so that he can present, but thank you so much for attending.
To thank my colleagues at Slippery Rock University and then also Millersville University for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Andrew Wislock, and I'm with Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania. So we're located in central Pennsylvania on the eastern portion of Pennsylvania, and we are located in the town of Bloomsburg. Now, I must admit, I gave something away. And one thing I'd like to say is we are the only town in Pennsylvania. Okay, so let me repeat that. A little bit fact about our university is Bloomsburg University is located in the only town in Pennsylvania. Okay, so one thing about the town of Bloomsburg and the university overall, and I believe my colleagues would stress this as well too, which is true at Millersville and Slippery Rock and all 14 PASHE institutions, is there's a real sense of community and really commitment to the students, where they get to know the faculty, they get to know the staff, and really be engaged at our campuses, at our colleges and universities. That is something that is certainly true. So I want to talk briefly about Bloomsburg University over the next 10 minutes and just give you a little brief intro of the university. We do have virtual visits and in-person visits that students can come to learn more comprehensively about the university. And those are located on our website. So let me just give that to you, and I'm going to pause while you write that down. So it's www.bloomu.edu/visit. www.bloomu.edu/visits. That's how you would sign up for an in-person or virtual visit at our university. So I just want to give you an idea of the size of the university. So I like to say we're in the middle in terms of size between large and small. We're roughly approximately about 9,000 students overall cumulative in terms of size. We have 76,000 alumni and growing. So we hope to add to that with you ultimately. We just added 58 majors with our degree in professional sales and marketing, which is business-to-business sales they're training you in at Bloomsburg University. So I want to talk about our 5 different colleges. So we have the College of Education, the College of Liberal Arts, the College of Science and Technology, our Ziegler College of Business, and our Honors College. So I'm going to highlight some of the majors within the 5 different colleges and just briefly talk about that. One thing I'd like to note is I'm not naming all the majors within the different colleges. So just be aware that as I'm going through the colleges, I'm not naming all the majors. I just want to be very clear on that. So our College of Education, we have degrees in American Sign Language, English Interpreting. We have Early Childhood Education, which is pre-K through 4. We have also middle level education, grades 4 through 8, And we also have secondary education, which is grades 7 through 12. And then we have special education, which is and a dual certification also with that as an additional option that students can select with early childhood education. So the reputation of all of the PASHE institution programs is outstanding. And again, you will get that personal nature where our faculty and staff really engage with the students at all of our 14 institutions. So I just really want to stress that, and I believe my colleagues would definitely agree with that as well. And I want to talk about the College of Liberal Arts. So that some majors in there would include anthropology, art history, art studio, communication studies. So that could include leadership and public advocacy, organizational communication, criminal justice, economics, English, history, language and cultures, mass communications and journalism, music, philosophy, political science, psychology, sociology, social work, theater, and dance are some of the majors in our College of Liberal Arts. And then our College of Science and Technology, that would include audiology and speech pathology. So that is a degree in communication science and disorders. And students are qualified after completing that baccalaureate program to apply for either a master's in speech pathology at Bloomsburg University or a doctoral program in audiology for the audiology program. So students do not have to make the decision as an undergrad, is I guess what I'm getting at there. They would be qualified at Bloomsburg University to apply for both programs. We also have biology. So that could include natural history, pre-medical sciences. We have chemistry, computer science, digital forensics, electronics, engineering, technology, environmental and geological sciences, exercise science, health physics, health sciences. So that could include pre-PT, pre-pharmacy, pre-PA, medical lab science, mathematics, medical imaging, nursing, physics, technical leadership. Those are some different examples in our College of Science and Technology. And I want to speak to our Ziegler College of Business, which is AACSB accredited. So that would include business administration, accounting, finance, information technology management, international business, management, supply chain management, marketing, professional sales and marketing, which is its own degree. At Bloomsburg University, research and analytics and marketing, business education, and supply chain management. So those are some different examples. Again, I did not name all the majors in the colleges. We also have our honors college. So that's a different example that students can apply to at the university. And through the application, there is an interview process as part of that, be selected for the honors college. And that really is engaging with our faculty. There are some courses, such as some general education courses, that would be part of that particular program that students can do. And we have about 66 minors approximately at Bloomsburg University. So I'm showing some photos here about at Bloomsburg University, and top left is our Carver Hall, and then bottom left is our iconic Husky statue. So I always like to say on your first day of classes and graduation, of course, you'll want to get a photo in front of Carver Hall and our iconic Husky statue. Then also on the right photo, you can see our academic quad, which is where all your classes are located at Bloomsburg University. So all the classroom buildings are on the academic quad, centrally located. So they're all right there. And then bottom middle photo is our library building at the university, which is 4 floors. There is a Starbucks coffee shop in the library building as well that students can visit one of our 16 plus dining options at Bloomsburg University. And now I'm showing some photos of our residence facilities. So we have suite style facilities, 3 on upper campus and 1 on lower campus. One includes townhouse of the suites, so townhouse style as well that students can live in. And then the bottom left photo is our David Soltz Hall, where our bookstore is located. And then we have a Chick-fil-A and Qdoba, which is a grab-and-go dining option, one of those 16-plus dining options at Bloomsburg University. We do guarantee a car on campus all 4 years, and we do guarantee housing all 4 years at Bloomsburg University. We have a 17-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio, and our average class size is about 23 students at Bloomsburg University. And the bottom right photo is Elwell Hall, which is our largest residence facility on campus. So many of our residence facilities, of course, all of them have heat in them, but all but 2 have AC, where there's a thermostat in the room where students are controlling the temperature to their liking. And the 2 other facilities that do not have it, it is in the plan to convert them to have AC. The pandemic has pushed some of that back in terms of our construction and planning. And we are building a new building for our art and administration building, which is due to open in December, which is on our academic quad. So that will include where our admissions office, financial aid, and our art and history majors, many of the classes, as well as gen ed classes for art and history, will be located in as well. So I want to talk briefly about the application process. So we do not currently accept the Common App at Bloomsburg University, but we are SAT, ACT optional at this time. So we understand this is an unprecedented time in terms of the pandemic, and we want to make it as easy as possible due to all the difficulties caused by this pandemic for students as possible. And our application is currently open for current seniors. It does take 2 to 4 weeks to make a decision from the time of when the application is complete and all the required materials, such as a high school transcript, which is what we would require, being test optional for the students. We are rolling admissions, which means there's no hard, fast deadline except for nursing, which the deadline is November 15th, which is one of our more competitive programs here at Bloomsburg University in terms of the volume. And what I mean by that is in terms of the volume of applications that we receive at the university for that particular program. So I want to talk about cost of attendance, and I feel all my colleagues would reiterate this at all 14 PASHE institutions, is there's a lot of value added for our programs ultimately that we offer our students. So for Bloomsburg in particular, you can see there is a difference between the in-state and out-of-state tuition. And I want to just explain that in terms of the in-state tuition. So our taxpayers do subsidize some of the tuition versus the out-of-state. But we do offer financial aid. 90% of individuals receive financial aid at Bloomsburg University. So through that financial aid, including scholarships, that helps bring down the cost in terms of tuition, fees, room, and meal plan. And there are different options in terms of the meal plan at Bloomsburg University to lower that cost. So students can select different meal plan options. So I just want to make you aware that that cost can vary in terms of the meal plan and also the room as well. There are different options to select in terms of the room plan that students can have. And we do guarantee housing all 4 years. We do guarantee a car on campus all 4 years at Bloomsburg University as well. So I just want to stress and reiterate that again. And now I'm showing you a photo of our upper campus, which is where all our athletic facilities are at Bloomsburg University, including our pool, basketball courts, tennis courts, soccer field, football stadium, softball field, baseball field, and then we also have 3 apartment complexes on our campus. Not all are shown in this photo, so I just want to make you aware of that. And our Nelson Field House, which is where all our athletics are located at Bloomsburg University. So we are D2 athletics. And then also Division I for men's wrestling. So the exception to that, again, is men's wrestling is Division I. All the rest of the athletics for women's and men's athletics are D2, with the exception of wrestling, D1, men's wrestling at Bloomsburg University. So some of our men's sports at Bloomsburg University include baseball, basketball, cross country, football, soccer, swimming, tennis, track and field, and wrestling. And some of our women's athletics at Bloomsburg University include basketball, cross country, field hockey, golf, lacrosse, soccer, softball, swimming, tennis, track and field, and volleyball. So we have those different options for students that they can do through athletics as well. And with our athletic programs, I just like to speak in terms of all the 14 PASHE schools. Many of them have I'd like to say all of them have an outstanding reputation in terms of the athletics, and many of our programs at all 14 PASHE schools have, and some of them have won national championships, division championships, so different regional championships. So there's an outstanding reputation across the board with all 14 PASHE schools. And I just want to reiterate that and stress that with all our athletics, both women's and men's sports at the university. And I always like to speak to our alumni network at all our 14 state schools, speak to Bloomsburg in particular. So we have an outstanding alumni network. And I think my colleagues at Millersville and Slippery Rock would definitely agree with that in terms of you really get the personalized attention with our faculty and staff. You also get that with our alumni as well, is true at all 14 PASHE institutions, including Bloomsburg, Millersville, and Slippery Rock. So one thing with our alumni, and I like to stress this, I'll speak to football at Bloomsburg University. So Mr. Jari Evans attended here for his undergraduate, played football at Bloomsburg University, played for the New Orleans Saints. Frequently attends and actually hosts some of our alumni events because Jari Evans owns some restaurants in Philadelphia near the stadiums where we have some of our networking events with our alumni. So that's an example of the strong culture of athletics at all of our universities, and also the strong alumni network at all of our universities as part of the Pennsylvania state system of higher education. And I just want to speak to that and stress that ultimately. And I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today and talk about the Pennsylvania state system of higher ed and Slippery Rock in particular, Millersville University also in particular, and Bloomsburg University. We just thank you so much, and we hope you attend our virtual sessions or our in-person sessions if allowed by the campuses, so when appropriate. And that may change frequently as we navigate this pandemic ultimately. Again, speaking to Bloomsburg in particular, we do have in-person visits currently and virtual sessions. And there are other ways as well to visit my colleagues, and I'm sure they'll speak to that at Millersville University and Slippery Rock. So definitely visit in one way or another, all 3 of our institutions. We would love that. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, and now I believe we'll take some questions that students may have about our institutions. So you can type it in the chat and we'll read that.
So I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd love we would appreciate any feedback that you can provide to us. This was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at NJACAC.org. In about a week, you'll be able to find the session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at NJACAC.org. Thank you and have a great afternoon, everyone.